Alright, so here is our first tutorial. We're going to be doing level design here. And this one is going to be primarily we're going to make a quick level in this tutorial. But it's basically the same even for large scale maps. So, first off, in order to move, you're going to want to click Scene up here. When you click Game, it shows you what you're going to see whenever you're playing the game. When you click Scene, it shows you everything. And when you hold right click, you're able to move the mouse and use W, A, S, and T to move around. You can hold Shift to speed up, or you can use your mouse wheel to scroll. And a quick way to jump to an object is to double click on it. Oh wait, hold on, hit leg spike. Is to just double click on it and jump to that object. And it makes getting around much easier. So we're going to go ahead and delete everything. And we're going to go ahead and go to Terrain, Create Terrain, and this is our basic map. This is what everything's going to be. As you can see, it's just a big gray square. So we're going to go ahead and zoom in on this, and we're going to go ahead and give it we're going to give it a mesh. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on Terrain, and we're going to look at this paintbrush. We're going to click on the paintbrush, and we're going to hit Edit Textures. We're going to add a texture. Now, depending on what assets you have installed, you may not have this. I have grass assets installed, so I already have grass textures. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And whenever you click Add, it makes the entire terrain out of this. Now, say you wanted to make it yourself a path. Maybe you want to make yourself a path for the character to move around on. Well, you could hit Edit Textures, Add Texture, and when you add a new one, this one doesn't replace everything. Only the first one will replace the terrain's basic ground. So now if we click here, here, let me upgrade the brush size. Now if we click here with our grass and rock texture selected, it will make a grass and rock area. So now it's very dark. We're going to go ahead and add some light. So if you click on Game Object, Create Other, you have a directional light, a point light, a spotlight, and an area light. We're going to use a directional light as that's going to be our sun. So we're going to raise this up and push it back. And there we have our sun. So if we click on the directional light, we can increase its intensity so it's really bright, or make it very dark. And we can give it a halo. And if you have an asset for a flare, you can give it a flare. I don't have any because I don't have all the assets I have installed on this. So now we're going to go ahead and throw in our character, and we're going to throw in some trees too. So I only have palm trees because I didn't import the asset for the other kind of tree. So what we're going to do is we're going to find our palm tree. So my palm tree is in Trees, Ambient Occlusion, in my Terrain Assets, Palm, and it's palm right here. So now if we click it and drag it, we have a palm tree. Now another easy thing to do is click on Terrain, click on this trees right here, hit Edit Trees, Add Tree. Go here, click on this little circle to add a tree, type in the name of the tree, and you can change the bend factor and hit Add. So now, if we wanted, we're going to go ahead and decrease our brush size a bit. Whenever we click, it makes some trees. And it makes quite a few of them. So now we have some trees. Now we'll go ahead and, I don't have any ferns. I do have assets for one, but I don't have them installed like I said. So we're going to go ahead and just make some quick ferns. So we're going to go ahead and take a palm tree, drag it down so its wood isn't showing, so it's just the palm, and we're going to go ahead and drag it around. So now we have a basic forest type area. So we're going to go ahead and get our player in. So in Assets, I have a character controller. So we're going to do a first person controller, and we're going to drag him in there. So now that we have our he's in the ground. Now that we have our first person controller, we can go ahead and look in game, and that'll show us what it looks like. So we're going to go ahead and hit play. So now this is what we see when we're in the game. We can jump, we can move, we can look around. So now we have a small tree type area with a small patch of grass and dirt, or rock and dirt, with a grassy area. So now we're going to go back into Scene, and we're going to go ahead and build a building. So what we're going to do is going to go to Game Object, Create Other, and we're going to make a cube. So now, let's go ahead and drag this cube up. Drag it over here. Drag it over here. Drag it over here. Drag it up even more. Drag it over here. And drag it down. So now we just have a cube. What are we gonna do with this cube? Well, first let's move it to where we're able to build without it getting interrupted by all these trees. So now we have this over here. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna explain to you these tools. Here we have, whoa, what did I do? I don't even know what that tool is for. But here, this tool right here is to move things. Now I'll explain these little axes. The green is up and down. Red is forward and backward. Blue is left and right. So now that we know this tool is the turning tool. Since we know that blue, or actually it changes here. Blue is turning forward and backward. Green is left to right. And red is turning, or flipping. Now this tool is a resizing tool. We can either resize it all as a whole. You can either make it taller, fatter, or longer, or bigger. I don't know how to explain this that well. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and make a wall. So here we're going to have our basic width of our wall. We're going to go ahead and Control Z everything so that it's not tilted so much. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and make our wall. So here we have a nice basic wall. We can go ahead and click here and drag this up because whenever you make it longer, it makes it longer on both sides. So we have a wall, and we don't really want to make a bunch of the same wall, or we don't really want to make a wall multiple times because they're going to vary in size. So what we can do is we can click on the cube, hit Control C, which is copy, and then Control V, and that will paste another one, and we can move it. And then we Control C, Control V again, and move it here. And then we can click our rotating tool, click on the green one, and rotate it. You can then move it back to its position. Now, on a larger scale project, you're going to want to work on this a lot more. But this is just a tutorial project to where I'm not actually going to turn this into anything. So here we have this. Now we're going to click here, Control C, Control V, and move that one over here. But now we can't enter our house. So what we're going to do is we're going to click here, whoop. We're going to click on it, we're going to go here and we're going to size it down. Drag it over here. Control C, Control V. Drag that new one over here. Go ahead and make these a little bit bigger. Now mine are not going to be even because I'm just, like I said, this is just going to be a quick little thing here. No, that's a little too big now. Alright, so now we have our walls. So now we're gonna go ahead and click here, Control C, Control V, move it over here. Whoops. Click on our resizer tool, shrink it down a bunch, bring it up, bring it over. We're gonna click here, Control C, Control V, bring it up. Get our tool to move it or flip it. We're gonna flip it, gotta pull it down. Whoops. Pull it down. Bring it over. Rotate it a little more. Bring it up. Oh wait, I'm clicking the wrong one. Bring it up. Bring it to the side. Bring it a little forwards. Click here. Now we're gonna make it bigger. Or longer, I should say. And we're going to drag it over here. So now we have a small little shack. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit play. So now that it's played, oh, hold on, it's hitting us lag spike. Uh-oh, lag spikes. Okay, there we go. So now we're going to walk over to our shack, our very quickly thrown together shack. And we're going to, it looks really bland, doesn't it, being all gray. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw some meshes on here. So, first, I'm going to explain this over. This is everything you've put in the game so far. So as you can see, we have palm trees, you know, our ferns, our first person controller, our light, and then all these cubes, which are this. And we don't really want it all littered up like that. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create game object, create empty. We're going to rename this to say house. And we're going to click cube, shift click at the top so we select all of them, and drag them into house. So now house stays where it is, but house is organized into all these cubes. And you can rename the cubes to, ceiling, wall, whatever you want. So now we're going to go ahead and open up house, and we're going to try to find a mesh. So what we're going to find is I have some materials, so I have some models for this RPG I'm making. This is going to be an RPG, but I'm just using it as a quick tutorial. So in my materials, I have a stone. And this is what it looks like. It's just a circle. And you can make them if you want, or you can just download them. So what you want to do is you want to click stone, and you want to drag it onto there. And it'll show you what it looks like. So we're going to click our stone, and we're going to drag it on all of those. Make us a nice stone shack. So now we have a nice little stone shack. We can go ahead and make that. So now we have a nice stone shack. Now whenever we hit play, we've got this palm tree, we've got these ferns, we've got a blue sky, which we're going to end up changing here. We've got grass, we have rock and grass, and then we have we have this. So we're going to go ahead and close out. Or not close out, but stop playing. Now we're going to change the skybox. And the skybox is this gray stuff up here. So we're going to go to game object, or no, we're going to go to edit, render settings, and over here, skybox material, you're going to want to click this little circle. Now, if you have any skyboxes, I do, they come with standard assets. You can type sky and look for a skybox. So we could go ahead and we're going to make this a dark area. So we're going to do, let's do Starry Night. Or we'll do Moonshine. So now we have a nice skybox in here. So since this is going to be a dark, we're going to take our directional light and we're going to delete it. So now everything is very dark. But we want our shack to have a light in it. So we're going to go to create game object, create other. I believe it's a spotlight. And we're going to set the intensity a little bit more. Or no, well, spotlight's a little too small. So we're going to go ahead, oops, control. I accidentally redid our directional light. So we're going to go ahead and hit delete. Alright, so now we're going to go into game object, create other. Let's try a point light. That's what we want, yeah. Alright, so we're going to drag it over here. We're going to drag it inside of our shack. So now we have a small light in our shack. And we don't want just a random light in our shack. So we're going to go ahead and hit create game object, create other, sphere. So now our sphere is going to go up, it's going to go over, it's going to go inside of our light. We can bring it up to the roof. We're going to take our light and we're going to drag that up into there. So now our shack is bright compared to the rest of the world. So now let's hit play. We've made a quick level. It has grass, it has trees, it's got a shack with a light, it has a skybox. And basically, this is what you do for anything. If you have like some prefabricated buildings, some prefabs is what they're called, then you go ahead and just drag it. Like I have some water, a water prefab. If I want, I can just drag water in there and drop it. And your Y, if you're ever doing water, you want to set it to like a 0.1 or 0.00001. You want to get it to where it's just barely above the terrain. Because if it's below, if it's just 0, it's going to be even. So then you're not going to be able to see it very well. But if it's above maybe like 2 or 3 spaces, then it's going to be so high it looks like it's floating. So now with our water, this prefabricated water comes with reflections. It's got the disorientation. Everything looks nice. So we have created a level in 14 minutes. That's a very fast level, even though it's small scale. And you can always, if you want, like a tree area for your map, you can always just set your brush size bigger, which is right here. And you just drag it, just make a bunch of trees because you know trees are awesome and everything. I don't know if it looks very good in game, but so now you have a very tree-filled zone. It's very dense palm tree forest. But that's how you create a level, and it's very quick, very easy, and on a larger scale might be a little harder. But yeah, thanks for watching.